Hey, how you doing? What's up, good people? Hey, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell as we continue to grow here on Stock Up. You come and join this family as we make money. But you know what we did today? Today we just sat still like this. Wasn't a lot going on. There wasn't a lot of buys. It was a few buys, but it wasn't a lot of buys in the stock market. There were some buys in crypto for us today. I don't know about you. You let me know what you did. Anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. So we're going to get right into it, good people. Listen, we're going to start right here. President Trump had a meeting with President Zelensky, all right, of the Ukraine. But the a lot of the leaders from the European Union were there, and talks so far have been good to stop the war that's going on between Ukraine and Russia. So that's looking good. Now, here's my 2 cents, if you would allow me. I do believe that if this is settled and war stops, that the market will see that good and may go up a little. I don't think that's going to cause the market to skyrocket, for it is priced in and the market is punch drunk from this war, meaning that it's not going to move it that much. But if it falls apart and things don't go well, I believe the market will go down further than it will go up based on good news. So, positive over negatives. The risk is more than the reward, is all I'm saying. That as far as the stock market, of course, we pray for peace. We want all of the children to be returned to, both sides, especially the Ukrainian children that's been taken away. And we want peace for all. Okay, so don't come here with this side, that side. We here at Stock Up, we want peace. And if you don't want peace, then you wrong. That I'm going to stand on. We want peace. We want the end of bloodshed, period. Peace, no war, period. And a fair deal, okay? That's what we want, right? We want Ukraine to stay Ukraine, and we want Russia to stay Russia. That's what we want. I'm going to stand on that, all right? And if you got a problem with that, that's your problem. All right. So rate cuts. All eyes on Fed Chair Powell Jackson Hole speech. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jackson Hole is a place, all right? And he does this meeting every year, and they are trying to see if he's going to sound hawkish. Now, there's a lot to lose here. I believe that this, out of the last 3 years, will be his most important Jackson Hole speech. If the Fed starts to talk and sound hawkish, like he's not going to lower interest rates, that's going to be a negative for the market. But if he sounds dovish, that's going to be positive for the market. Larry, just tell me what's going to happen. I don't know. We got to listen to what he's got to say, right? So, what I do know that is if he sounds like he is even thinking of lowering interest rates, that will be good. So you need to listen. I believe he speaks on Friday at Jackson Hole, and then we will know based on his comments. If he keeps talking that same, data dependent, we got to see, unlike before, the last FOMC meeting where the Fed had his rate decision, it was backwards. And what I mean by that is he had his decision, then came PPI, then came CPI, then came the jobs, okay? So not necessarily in that order, but I believe we had the FOMC meeting, then came the jobs, and then came CPI and PPI, right? This time it's the other way around, and you need to hear this and understand this, all right? And I know you're going, what are all these acronyms? I'm just going to brush right through it because this is what you need to know to position yourselves in stocks and crypto. That this time around, we're going to have a PPI and a CPI, and we're going to have a jobs and a PCE all before the Fed meeting, which is the way it should be. So we're going to have all four important inflation data points before the Fed makes his rate decision. We will have PPI that measures the rate of change from producers price index, PPI. So what the producers produce, their costs is involved in that, right? And it will be affected by tariffs. Could it be a one-time hit? No one knows. But if it is a one-time hit, that will be good, right? And so we saw from the last PPI that that number was way more than anybody expected, right? So now the PPI numbers came in hot. CPI numbers came in not that hot. That's the consumer price index. Most times, the consumer price index numbers come in first and then the PPI. So we're going to have both of those data points. Then we're going to have the CPE, as a matter of fact, the PCE rather. I believe PCE is going to come first, okay? All right, and we're going to have PCE, which is the the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. That is PCE. That's going to come out first, okay? And that, again, is a gauge for the consumer, and that's going to come out. So we're going to have PPI, CPI, and PCE. And guess what else we're going to have again? Jobs. So we're going to have all four of those data points: PPI, CPI, PCE, and jobs. And then we're going to have the FOMC meeting where the Fed will give his, I believe it's the September 18th, when the Fed will give his rate decision. And this time he will be better equipped. Okay. So that's important. All right. This week we have retail. All right. This week we got Target or Target if you're bougie, Home Depot, and Walmart all will be reporting this week. So we will know how strong the retailer is or what their purchasing power is, all right? And how they're purchasing. So this week is actually a good look on how the consumer is doing. Because if Target numbers are down, Home Depot and Walmart numbers are down, the consumer is pulling back on their spending. PCE, personal consumption expenditures, okay? So one of the things I want you to look at is Roblox. Now, Roblox here is one of the plays that we're in. And yes, they got hit. They're getting hit with these lawsuits. And some of these lawsuits may stand and some may not. And remember, we are long in Roblox here in our portfolio. But remember when I said I started buying some as soon as these reports came out. Now, we need to wait. Remember, America, innocent until proven guilty? We need to wait to see. But as you could see, here's what happened. Here's when the report came out. It hit. And I said that this is generally the best time to buy. And I bought here in the 113 up to 115 area, right? But I bought in here. So it revisited right here on the 18th. So we had the bad news, boom. It revisited and bounced off of that, and it was up today actually as much as 3%, and now it's up only 2%. But you could see that it's starting to recover. All right, good people. So I still added more to my positions on the day that we got hit. And here it is. It's actually September 17th. I stand corrected. September 17th is when the Fed will be speaking. You see here. Look, next FOMC meeting in 2025 is scheduled for July. Nope, that is not correct. All right. I'm sorry. It will be held September. This is correct. September 17th. All right. September 17th is when the Fed will be making his announcement. Now, here's the thing about the Jackson Hole. Sometimes he will take the wind out of the Fed meeting by jawboning during the Jackson Hole meeting, which is this coming Friday. So that's why everyone will be listening to what the Fed says this Friday. All right? It's a dog and pony show. Jawboning means he can move the market with his mouth. All right? Remember Janet Yellen, Janet B. Yellen? All right? So he could say some things on purpose at the Jackson Hole meeting, knowing what it's going to do to the market. It's called jawboning. Okay? So look at crypto, 116. I was asking people in Money Moves this morning when it was 115, right? Were you buying at 123? Were you buying at 124? And if you were buying at 124, then are you buying now? And I was asking that question, and I'm going to pose that question to you. Look at this. XRP, 307. This morning, it was down. It was 290 something this morning. So XRP is waking up. But look at this, good people. This morning, XRP was under 3. And I was asking people in Money Moves, are you buying now if you're an XRP head? Are you buying now? Let's just go to the day. Were you buying this morning at 295? Or are you buying now at 307? Were you buying when it was down to 295? And if not, if you're buying above 3 and you weren't buying below 3, then you're doing this thing backwards, backwards, backwards. The same thing with Ethereum. Look at that. Down again, 34. When it was, 43. When it was 42, just a little while ago, when it was 42, were you buying? Okay, that's what I'm going to ask you. Were you buying? Or look at that. Let's go over the 7-day. I'm going to ask you again. Were you buying when it was 42? And if not, were you buying when it was 47? Because if you were buying when it was 47 and you're not touching it when it's 42, something wrong with you. They're calling you dumb money to your face. Stop doing that. Uncle Larry is here to tell you that you are the sheep and you are the 80% that chases it when it goes up, okay? So that's what I'm going to leave with you guys today, and just let you know that these next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely insane. Today's market, I'm not even going to show you. It was flat, 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 flat. Look at that. Flat, flat, flat. That's the S&P and the NASDAQ. So if you were doing options, it wasn't and you were playing the Qs or the SPY, wasn't nothing happening today. It was just flat as a doornail. It was just flat, okay? And sometimes no move at all is the best move you can make for the day. So you just chill, make sure you protect your gains, and you're good. Come join us. Money Moves is where you're going to get all my moves, all my posts. You're going to get all my crypto moves. You're going to get all my stock moves. You're going to get all my swing trades. You're going to get my portfolios. And there is a full class on options in Money Moves. Don't play. Don't delay. Come and join the party and get paid like the rest of us. All right? I'm going to leave it right there, good people. We're going to keep our eye on the market and let's see what happens tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, and learn.